So I'll just share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. Good afternoon once again, and welcome to our second class and the final for the Git and GitHub. So after this, like you guys will continue with the C# class. So from our last class, we talked about version control systems and did some explanation, and I've been impressed by some of the assignments that I gave you guys, and that is actually like commendable. I'll still be using this slide for the second class. So, and like I said last week, I'll be talking about branching and pull requests today. So, just like a recap, we had something like this outline last week that we went through, and majorly I talked about Git, the software, the version control software itself, and then I talked about Git here. I talked about GitHub, like the UI, the version control tool. So we talked about installing, setting up, initializing, cloning, then add, commit, and push. And then I've seen like some of you did in the assignment, like you had a good grasp of what we discussed. So today, like I said, I'll still be using this slide. So the part two is just mainly on branching and pull requests, and then I'll give us time to actually ask questions too. So today I'll be basing this on a case study. Um, so there is a team of 3 software developers working on a product. So the product is a web app. The product is a web app, and so and they need to each make changes to the product as requested by customers. So if you remember, I made mention of this in our introductory class that as a software developer, a software engineer, DevOps engineer, you are writing code at least. You will always work in a team. Like that is almost sure. So you won't work alone. And this is an example here in this case study. So the 3 guys, the 3 software developers working on this product, they have 3 tasks. So there's this task one, which is adding an about link to the sidebar. So this is just an HTML project, HTML CSS. So this is just to give you like a visual representation. That's why I'm using a web app. So give you a visual representation of how things are done, and then how you actually like link, use your Git, the Git skills that you have for your product or web app in this case. So there are 3 tasks. So the second task is making sure the new company's name reflects on the web page. So this company, they are changing their name, just like Taxify changed to Boat some times ago. And then the third task is making sure their GitHub page is well linked in that web page. So I already created a repo for this. Uh, Created a repo for that project, and I call it LFH templates. So I just got a template online. It's just based on HTML, CSS. So I just like quickly did this. So now this is the project. You are 3. The 3 guys are just coming into this project. I'm just going to start working on the project, and like what? Oh, can we please mute? Okay. So like what I said, the first thing now is task one. So we are going to take this task by task. So task one is about adding about link to the sidebar. So the first thing this developer is going to do is to actually get this this project as a whole. So it's local system. So I'll go back to my terminal, and I want to have it in my documents. So I'll change directly to documents. Uh, So I want to have it in LFH. Let's learn from home. Yeah. So this is actually the same thing as coming here, going to document, LFH, and then creating a folder. So I'm going to call this folder, I'm going to make a new, okay, let me make it here. I'm going to make a new folder here and call it, let's call it case study now. Okay, projects B. So let's call it this project B now. So I have this project. This is the first developer now working on this. And if I do an ls here, I can see I have project B in learn from home folder. So I'm just going to change directory to that folder right here. So I'm here, and if I do a list of what is there, there's nothing in there yet. So the first thing I want to do is do a clone. If you remember from our last session, from the commands, there's a clone command. So git clone repo. So this is just me getting the repo so I can have it on my local system. So I'm going to do a git clone and the URL. So I'm just going to come here and copy back to my terminal and paste. So enter. So you can see it's cloning into LFH templates. So I think there's a video file in there somewhere, so that's why it may take time. So if I go into project B again, you can see I have LFH template. So you can see, and I have all these files that are here, same files here on GitHub. I have them already. So I'm going to open this LFH template inside project B. I'm going to open it on my Visual Studio Code. So like I said, so the Visual Studio Code is just like a development environment. So there are different types out there. You may have heard of them, and I'm sure like for this bootcamp, you'll be using Visual Studio, which is even more sophisticated than this. So I'm just going to open this guy in Visual Studio. So you see, I have access to um, all the files in that project. So this is developer one, and this is what is required of me to even before I start working on my own task. So I'm going to get this is the index file. This is just HTML. Don't mind the code and everything. I got this template from templated. So I'm just going to do get a path. I want to view this index.html file. So I'll go back to my browser. I'm going to open a new tab and paste. So this is the project. So you can see just a web page, and this is what they currently have. So now, as the first guy working on the first task here, so my work is just to add an about page, about link to the sidebar. So if I go back to that page, I can see there's a sidebar here. They have home, elements, and generic. So my task here is adding an about here. So I'm just going to go back to Visual Studio Code, and so I'm going to do something like this. So this is the link. You can see home, elements, and generic. Just to going to do a copy. So this is the this is where the developer will do everything that he needs to do. So just completing his tasks, doing stuff, and if you have to do like whatever you have to do as a developer, this is the stage that you do everything. So and before then, I'm going to if I do a Git branch. Oh, okay. So I have to change directory into this template from here. CD. Let me clear my screen. If I do an ls, so I have all the files there. If I do a git branch, you can see the current branch is master, which is also the same thing that we have on GitHub. Don't forget, the branch is master. So and we only have one branch here. So now I'm going to create my own branch because I want to work on that task one. So I'm going to do git checkout. We did this last week, -b, and I'm going to call this branch task one. So switch to a new branch, task one. So now on my VS Code, don't forget, like I said, on this VS Code, you can do what I'm doing here. You can actually do everything here too on this terminal. So I'm going to like make changes. Okay, I think I copied. Okay, yeah. So I did a copy of this, and I'm going to change this to about. This is just for testing sake. So we have I have this here. So now I'm done with what is required of me. So you can see VS Code to actually like notify you that there's one change, and you can see in this file. So I'm just going to go back here, do a git status, and you can see changes not stage for commit. So there is one file that I did modify, and like I see it here, and I'll do a git add index.html. So then I commit my changes, git commit -m completion of task one. So now I'm going to push to that branch, git push issue origin. Did stuff like this last week too. And so the branch here now is task one. Enter. So now this is done. So if I go to, you can see now less than a minute ago, there's a new branch, not just master again. Let me refresh first. So you're going to see like we have two branches now, master and task one. And now if you look at this task one, if I go to that branch, you can see there is a new commit which was 44 seconds ago. You can check commit messages here. If I click on this guy, you can see, okay, from here you can see this is the message I wrote earlier, completion of task one, and this is my username because I pushed it. So this task one branch has that change I made. That was 44 seconds ago inside this file. But if I go to master, just check this, the index.html file that I changed. If you look at it, 44 seconds ago was the last change. But these guys have 36 minutes ago. If I go to my master branch, you can see this index.html has like 16 minutes ago. So it was like, it's not the same. And what that last change I made on that branch, it's not yet on master. So you can also think about this at this same time, the other developers are actually working on their own projects, like their own tasks too, like doing their own stuff. Why I'm doing this, I'm not actually conflicting anything. Now that I'm done with my task, I'll go back to task one branch. So I'm going to do a new pull request. So now remember today I said we'll be talking about branching and pull request. So pull request is basically me showing my teammates the changes I've made. So just click here on your branch. Make sure you're on your branch. Make sure you're on your branch. Click new pull request. So what you need is just this is just title. You can see, and then this is description. So I can give it pull request. The pull request most times I may refer it to as PR. So it's actually common to say PR instead of pull request. So now I give the PR a title. I can say task one PR, and then the description can be changes made as a result of task one. So this actually depends on teams that you are working in. So each different teams have different convention. I've been in teams that you have to follow a certain convention. How do you write this? But they will give you the guideline, though. How you write your title, how you write your description, and all. And I've been on that team that they don't really care about the way you do it. Just make sure you have a PR. So when you just fill the description and then the title, so you can do a create pull request. So if you see, these are just these links and all those stuff that you can maybe add fancy stuff to this guy. But then just click on create pull request. So you can see I have one pull request opened. So here, this URL, I can send this URL to any of my teammates or my team lead, as the case may be. They can actually like come to this page and then check my pull request. So the pull request actually like show the files change. This is like the most important part. So if I click on files change there, you will see that this is master. So if you notice, I'm making a pull request to master from task one. So this is the master branch, the branch that I'm comparing. This is master. This is the changes in that index.html file. But in my own file, which is on the right here, my task one branch, you can see that I have this extra line. If you remember, the line I added myself. So you can see there's a plus sign. So I'm adding this to this. So I can see, like, if I have like 10 files changed, everybody can see, oh, this guy is adding this to this. Is it okay? Will it work? And all those stuff. Then people can like comment here. People can review your changes, like add comments, approve it. They can request that you like do some stuff more and then submit a review and all those stuff. So you see like the major changes that the person is making. So this actually like foster collaboration within teams. And when if everything is right, like if you have checked and all this right, go back to conversation here. You can just match pull request. If I click on this button, this will actually like this is basically merging what I have in task one, those changes I've made, putting it into master. So now I earlier I was using WhatsApp as an example, saying for example, let's say some few years ago, there was nothing like a video call on WhatsApp. So let's use this scenario now, saying a developer on WhatsApp team, his task is to work on the feature to make sure that there's video on that app. So currently, what WhatsApp actually have, what their users have is what they have on master. So the master branch contains the code for what everybody is using on WhatsApp. But then this task one contains just the changes for adding, implementing a video feature for WhatsApp. So when this is done, for example, and then you raise a PR, everybody checks it, looks at it, and then see, oh, everything is fine. Then you merge it. This merging here means that you are merging the changes here into that master branch. And when this is done, then you most of the time you are prompted, although there may be some stuff that may work in between them, you'll be prompted that there's a new version of this app available. And then you upgrade. So when you update, it's just the same thing as you getting the changes made in this branch, and then you are updating it onto your phone because there's a change on that master. So I'm going to do that, merge the pull request, and you can see confirm merge, then done. So you can see pull request successfully merged. You can delete branch if you want, and you can leave it. But then if I go back to my code, that is for this repo, you can see the index.html file now. You can see the last commit is completion of task one, which I'm on master now. And oh, this is, so you can see I have the about here. I have the about here. And this is what we have on our current master branch. Now, I can still go back to task one and see those changes. So this is one of the benefit of Git that I talked about. You can have this branch, and 1 year later, when you have worked on a lot of stuff and then you have different stuff in master, you can actually go back to a point in time when you just have a small change. You can go back to this branch and see, oh, this is how we evolve. This is the changes made. You can track your changes, and these things are easy compared to when everybody's just making the changes and then everything is modeled up, and you can't say, oh, this is where we are 2 years ago, this is where we are last month, or this is where we are last week. So now that we have everything on master, I'm going to clear my screen. Remember, here I'm on task one, and I've pushed my changes to my master branch and did a PR and all. So now for developer two to actually start working too, the person working on task two. So remember there's a task two. Make sure the new company's name reflects on the web page. So what this person will do is at first I'm going to change to, let me check the branch. I'm going to change to the master branch. See, I'm on task 1 here. So I'm going to change to master branch. It's checkout master. If you notice here, I'm not using dash B. Dash B is actually when you need to create a new branch. So if you have that branch already, you don't need to add dash B to it. So I'm going to use the checkout to master. So switch to branch master. And now I'm going to do a git pull. So git pull actually means getting changes that are online, that is on GitHub here. Changes that are here, but you don't have them on your local system. So I'm going to do a git pull, and you're going to see like there's a one file change. You can see one insertion inside index.html. If I try a git pull again, I should get up to date, something like that. You can see already up to date. So this is actually essential for you to actually know, like make sure that what you have online is what you have locally on your system. So if I go back here, you can see I'm in master branch, and I have this guy, this about. And if I refresh my page, so currently we have just home, elements, and generic. If I refresh this page, I should have that changes made. You can see I have that about. So this is just showing how the workflow for actually collaborating using Git and adding features, working on features like multiple things on a team with multiple people. So now the developers actually pull from master, and I'm talking about the second task now. And then you can now start working on your second task here, because I have the what is on GitHub. I have it on my local machine. And if I look at what's required here, make sure the new company's name reflects on the web page. So I gave you this example that this company is new, and they are just, so this is a template, and then they have industrials, and we are changing that industrials to learn from home, for example. That is my second task. And I'll just go into that code again. Remember, this Visual Studio Code is just development environment. This can be Notepad or any others. It can be Visual Studio or any other thing like that, depending on the code you are writing. And this is HTML code. So I'm going to change the name. Look for industrial. So I have industrials here. I will change it to learn from home. Learn from home. And then I will also change it here. Industrials. Change it to learn from home. Yeah. So if I do, this is still on my local machine, and if I do a refresh, you can see I have learn from home and learn from home. So what I need to do to make sure you are not working on your master branch, so that you are not going to make mess of things. Just to be sure again on the branch that I'm currently working on. So I'm on master. So I'm going to do a checkout dash B to task 2 now. So you can see switch to a new branch, task 2. And now that I'm done with my feature, I already like make sure I've tested it. I can see that I've changed the name as requested. So I'll just go back to my terminal and then do a git add. My change, the change was made in index.html. So I do a git commit. Task 2 done. And then the next thing is I do a push. So it's always good to be sure which branch you are working from. You can see I'm on task 2 here. This is denoted by the asterisk here. So I'll do a push, git push, that's you, that's like the current user. Origin, that is I'm pushing to GitHub. Then the name of the branch, task 2. So I'm going to push my changes to GitHub now. Yeah, done. So if we go back to GitHub, And so you can see less than a minute ago there is a recently pushed branch. So if I change to this, you can see I have 3 branches now. So if I go to task 2, I can see that, oh, I have a new commit here. Task 2 done. That's the latest commit on this file. So this task 2 done. This is in oh sorry. This is in the task 2 branch. This commit message here. Let me change the task 1 and we'll see the difference. Task 1 branch. You can see this is completion of task 1 that I have here. And in my master branch, I should have the same thing. Completion of task 1 because I already matched task 1 to master. So I have let's go back to task 2. So remember, I told you on in our first class I talked about having a big idea, and then you have like different features that you have. So you can see this folder, this big idea folder as my repository, and then these guys as my branches. This folder here. So it's just like organizing your folder structure locally. Think about it that way. So you can do your stuff here. So you can see here I was saying I have user interface 1, 3, like that, just cluttering everywhere. But then with Git, I can just create branches like online, and then I can track each of them easily. So let's go back to our task 2. So I'm going to do the same thing. Raise a pull request. So this pull request is just showing the changes made. So if you look at this place, you can see base master. Base is where you want to merge your changes to, and then what you are comparing is your current branch, like task 2, for example, in our case. So we are comparing what is in task 2, the branch task 2, and then comparing it to what is in master. So there are some times that you may have like the same thing, like you have the same thing and there's no changes at all. Git will actually automatically detect that and tell you there's no changes. Let me try that. For example, if you want to compare master to task 1, you should have the same thing. So you can see comparing change, choose 2 branches to see what's changed. You can see there's nothing to compare. That was because what we have in task 1 is the same thing as what we have in master. So Git will automatically tell you that. But then what we want to compare is master, want to do task 2. So you can see able to merge. There are some times that you won't be able to merge your branch because there are some conflicting files. Maybe you did not, for example, do a pull. You don't have the changes on GitHub. You don't have it on your local system before you pushed, and then you want to compare. GitHub will tell you like, oh, there are some things in master that you don't have here. So you will see a message like instead of able to merge, you will see something like that, and then most times it's referred to as conflict. So you just go back and make those changes. You can do that manually, or just go back to your VS Code or Visual Studio or any of your development environment and make the changes. So I'm going to go ahead and just create a new PR. Okay, I was talking about convention. Let me quickly show you this. GitHub. Let me show you a sample convention. So I used this repo as an example before, and let me show you the pull requests that we have here. So we have one where it's closed. Let me close. So okay, this was a sample PR that I worked on. So this was an app, a game player, and you can see this was the convention that we needed to use as at that time. So this convention was given to us by the team, and you can see this is the title, and you see this is very descriptive. Fixed bug. There was a bug on when you invite a player for the in the game that we were creating. So you can see this is very descriptive, and then you can see the description. What does this PR do? See, removing the description of tasks to be completed, how should this be manually tested, any background context, all those stuffs. So screenshots. So this is like the screenshots of the game and stuff like that. So this is based on the team I was working with then. They had a convention. The team I'm working on now, we don't really like do this. Just can decide what your descriptions, what you have in your description and what you have in your title. Just make it descriptive that somebody will get. So it depends on your team. You should take note of that. So you may have to do stuff like this, copy it, and then give a very detailed description like this. So and all that. I'll go back here. So I'm just going to do PR for task 2, and then just give this comment. This completes task 2, and then create pull request. So you can see the pull request is being created. It has been created now. So this is what I can send this link to my team lead or my teammates that need to review my work and see what I've done. And when this person hits this link, they come here and can see the files change. You can click on it and then look at it. You can see the changes. See here now, there was industrials before. Like this is master, don't forget, by the left, and this is my current branch by the right. You can see industrials here, and now it has been changed from learn from home. So you can see it's made in something like red, and this guy is green. You can see this is like a dash, like a minus, like a subtraction, and this is like an addition. So you can see that, and here too, I change this industrials here, I change it to learn from home. So this is actually very very visual and easy for somebody on your team to see. Oh, this is what this guy has done. Well, I think everything is fine. If the person have what's it called, a comment, come in, the person can come in and leave whatever comment, and then give you maybe just a comment or requesting changes and so that. So for example, now if I request change on this, let me see. Oh, I'm the author, so that's why I can't make a request. I can't request changes. So if, for example, another person is trying to do this, then they'll be able to like request changes. And so if you request a change, you can make settings of your repo to actually not be able to merge until there are no changes that are being requested. So you can do all those settings. I think it's in settings and all. So when there is any changes that has been requested, you won't be able to merge the pair until you fix all the changes that are being requested. So when you are done, you can just do this and then submit your review as the case may be. So then you can see commits here. This show commits. So you can see the name of the person that did the commit. This is the commit message. Don't forget. That's what I did here. You can see this command here. Task 2 done. So you can see it here. So you can use this to actually even describe stuff. And sometimes you can have more than one commit on your branch. You can have like as many commits as possible. Like say for example, you are this task to actually still involve you changing something else, and it's very very different from this. Maybe adding an additional page. So when you are done with changing industrials to learn from home, then you can have a commit for that, and then you move on to creating that new page too. When you are done with that, then you have another commit for that, still on same page, and that will actually like give a better explanation to whoever is reviewing your code. And when if everything is fine and go back to conversation, then match pull request. Don't forget this match is actually merging what we have in task 2 to master, and then confirm match. So you can see pull request successfully merged and closed. So the pull request will be closed when you are done. And if I go back to the code here, you can see I have master branch, and you can see I have task 2 done already here as the latest commit. So if I go back to, let me show you something. Let me clear my screen. Remember, on my local system, I'm still on branch task 2. Let me check out to master. Let's change to master branch. So I'm on master branch now. And if I go back here, you can see I still have industrials on line 20 and line 39. I have industrials. That's because I'm on master branch. and I've not done a pull. So if I do a pull here now, git pull origin. Okay, you don't need to add that. If you want to pull for a specific branch, you can do git origin, then the branch name, maybe master or task one or whatever. But then if you are on, currently I'm on master. If I do a git pull, so I'm essentially pulling master too. So you can see, fast forward, index.html. So there are like 4 changes or something. 4 changes, 2 additions, and 2 subtractions. So you can see if I come back here, index.html line 20 is now learn from home, and line 39 is now learn from home. So I have everything up to date. If I try a git pull again, it should tell me that everything is up to date. So that's the workflow, that's the idea. And so that's the case study. And if I have to go with task 32, still the same thing. So just make the changes. You first check out your own branch, make the changes you need to make. Make sure you have done a pull before that too. You pull, you make the changes you want to make, you do add, commit, and then you push to your branch on GitHub. And when you are done with that, you raise a pull request, and then your teammate or anybody will actually like review it, and then if everything is fine, then you can merge. So I'm going to, let me see if I missed something here. Uh, yeah, so you can see the number of commits you have. That's for on master branch, all the commits you have for this repository, the number of branches and packages. So these are like external packages you are using for your system, for your repo, or it could be services too, like Jenkins and all those guys. Then releases. So these are when you're talking about CI/CD, that's continuous integration and continuous deployment, which is beyond the scope of this session we're having. And then contributor. So if you're adding people, you can add like more people. So this reminds me. I'm going to settings now. So some of you guys sent me your repo, and I think they were not they were private. So you can see this danger zone in your settings. You can come here, you can make private an issue. If it is already private, you can make it public just from settings. Settings is here. So by default, you're always on code, but then you go to settings and come here. And if you don't want to do that, you can also add collaborator also. So access, manage access. So you can see who has access and all those stuff. So you can invite a collaborator here, and then you add my username. This is my username, and you can do that. And finally, so this is Andela. This is the site to hire senior engineers in Andela. So if you see this, the job description actually, and you can see for senior software engineer. Okay, for software engineer, I have 3 to 7 years. For senior software engineer, people with 5 to 10 years experience. And you can see if I clicked on this, and you see the description, what you will do, what you will bring, experience. So um if you look at okay, for check this, software engineers 3 to 7 years. Yeah, so if you look at what is required, and this is one of the working areas of at least one version control tool, which is Git. So this is actually very, very important. This is not dependent on the code you are working on, or the language you are working on, so to speak. If it is C sharp, if it is Java, if it is JavaScript, Python, any language you are working on, you will actually like need a version control tool, and it is a standard practice, at least for any world class software engineer, to actually like get a grasp of this. So I think that is all for me, and you guys should know that for example, this command, so most of these commands may be new, but then the more you use them, you get more familiar with them, and then there are some commands that I may even forget, and I just have to check the documentation again to use. There are some commands I've not even maybe used before. like, oh, I don't use them frequently, stuff like that. But then the more you use the basic one, add, commit, and push, then git pull, you have to like you get used to them the more you use them, and then don't be baffled and thinking, oh, this is quite too much. I don't know when I'll get a good grasp of this. You should not really think about that. But then just know, like, with time, you get familiar with them, and then you should always ask questions when you are blocked or when you are not sure of anything. So now, if we have any question now, please let me know. Mic check. Okay. Somebody's pressing.
Okay. So on the GitHub dashboard,
Yes.
um, I would love if you can help us explain the function of some buttons there, like the fork, the wash, and some other things.
Okay.
So,
So, let me go back here. Okay. So, this you have on watch. So by default, because I'm the owner of this repository, I'm watching. This is the same as getting notification. So if you look at this, these are like the options that you have here. Not rushing means I won't be notified if there's any changes. So I'm watching means I will get notification for all conversations. All conversation can be maybe when somebody commented on my pull request, or maybe I'm working with people on this repo and then they actually made a push to that repo and stuff like that. So this is just about notification. And star is just how will I put it now? Like you're liking something on Twitter, you can go back to it. Uh, you can go back to it at any point in time, and then it actually shows like it's basically just saying you are liking this repo, so you can see it. Like you can like as many repos as you like. Maybe there is one an open source project that you are very like overwhelmed with, and then you don't want to really go through it now. You can just start it and then go back to it later, or you just like a project and then you want to like give it a start. And then fork now. So you can let me do this. You can if this is for example, this is not my repo and I want to get it's just like cloning. So I want to get everything that is here. Like everything that is here. If you remember, I did something like git clone, but then with fork, it's we do this on your on this GUI here. So if I click on fork, it's going to say where I want to fork it to and all those stuff. So fork is just taking everything that you have on this repo and then copy it to your own repository. Um, let me see if I have. Okay, let me try and see. So now this project actually belongs to Angela, not in my own repository. So if I do a fork here, and I want to this is an organization asset that I have too, and this is my own personal repo or personal profile. So I click on this, and you're going to see something like a hair. So this is basically copying this repo to my own. You can see now I have access to it. Everything in that repo, that Mont Blanc CFH, but this is now under my own username. So you can see it's no more what I have in the organization. The organization access I have earlier, and we have like more or total control of it now. So it's just like you are copying whatever you have there, you are bringing it under your own username and all. And also, so talking about this is code. This is where you have your code, like the files that you have for your present repository. So you have access to them here. I'm talking about issues. So people can raise issues on your repo, and you can see new issue. Issue is basically saying, uh, let's say for example, this is a software that people use and it's open source. For example, GitHub is open source, so you can go to the repository and then open an issue. An issue can be maybe it's not loading well for you, or maybe when you view it on mobile, it doesn't show some parts that you are used to, stuff like that. So when you open an issue, you are going to give it a title and a description, and it's just like letting them know, and like informing them of whatever you think is wrong with that repository or that code, as it may be. And then the owner of the repo will actually like get a notification, and you guys can discuss on it, on that issue. So we've talked about pull request, and so actions is, I talked about CI/CD the other time. Action was released, I think it should be like 4 months ago or so. It was released, and action is basically, you can deploy whatever you have on your code. You can deploy it to maybe a URL. So this is actually like outside the scope of this session. But then if you have action, you can easily set it up in a certain way. And then you can see all this. You can deploy to Node, Azure Web. You can deploy to Amazing Elastic Container Service. You can deploy to Google Kubernetes and all those stuff, Google Cloud, and different places you can deploy to. So deployment is just taking your code from GitHub and putting it on a server where people can access it, and you have like a URL like this. So you can set it up in such a way that when there's a push, maybe there's a push to a particular branch, it should deploy, and there's a push to maybe at a particular time. All those stuff you can just do your settings, and then when that action is fulfilled, then you get it deployed. And like I said earlier, deployment is, this are some of the platform. So if you are deploying to ECS, for example, ECS is Elastic Container Service on AWS. So it's actually just means taking everything in your code, compiling it, and sending it to that ECS, and then you can now view, you have a URL and you can view it like on a live server. Remember, this guy is, you can see his file. It's like I'm viewing this from my local file system, so it's not like something like this URL, for example. So that is what that is about. And now talking about wiki. Wiki is okay, projects. So you can have you can list this your repo under project, and you can add stuff like pivotal tracker, Trello, like project management boards. You can add them, you can implement them here. So project management, let me see if I can show you this. Okay, so this is an example of a project management board, and then this is a task that I was working on. This is a Jira. This is Jira, and you can see it gives you description of the task to be done, and then the title rather, and then the description. So you can link this template to a branch, for example. So I think that is done here. Uh, let me see if I can see. I think this was linked to GitHub. So you can link stuff like this. You can link it to GitHub. Uh, okay. So this thing here, the project board there. So you have something like that Jira, and then where the developer will see the description of the task to be done. You can see everything here. So when you are done on, you are done with writing the code, you have a branch already. You can link that branch to this project here, and it's actually, it will be easy for people that for non-technical people, maybe a project manager, for example, a product manager. They can come to this project board, look at the description or the ask here, and then look at your code and test it and see that everything is fine. And also looking talking about wiki. Wiki is giving uh, description, like a very very good description of what your whole project entails. This guy has a wiki. This guy has a wiki. Oh, let me check from the source. exactly. So this guy has a wiki, and you can see welcome and all those stuff. You can see pages. This is just like, okay, I talked about branch naming convention and pull request naming and description the other time. So you can see in the wiki, it's actually stated there how you describe your PR and all those stuff. So you give like the conventions, how the team work and all those stuff. You put them in a wiki. And security. So there are sometimes that you have security issues. By default, GitHub gives you an overview of, they check your repo and all those stuff. So when you install maybe a package, for example, that is not safe, and GitHub finds out, they will notify you. Or for example, if you are doing something on advanced stuff like AWS, and then you have a security key that you're not supposed to have, you have it on GitHub, you actually get a mail, an email telling you that, oh, you have mistakenly uploaded or pushed a code that you're not supposed to push to GitHub. So you see all those security issues here, and stuff like that. And finally, insight. Insight is giving you data into maybe usage and all those stuff. You can see active pull requests, proposed pull requests, all those stuff. You can see like detailed usage of your repo. That's that. I hope I was able to answer your question.
Yes, sir.
Cool. Any other question, please? So, and also in the channel, like, and then I will still be available on the channel. And when you have issues, because I got to know, for example, a day that some people had some issues, you should, like I said earlier, you should put it on the channel, or you can DM me if you like you really need some stuff that you need clarity on. But then I prefer that you put it on the channel so that other guys too can learn. So you should just, I will still be online on that channel, and then you have maybe something you're not clear about, put it there, and then we'll discuss it too. So any other question, please?
Sir, but we have access to the video after the class, right?
Of course, yeah. I'll drop a link to the video, and then I
Okay.
still use the same slide I used the last session. So I just like made an edit to it, so I still have access to that too.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So if we don't have any other question, or if we after watching the video again, we still have like one or two issues that we are not clear about, like I said, don't hesitate to put it on the channel. Thanks everyone.